Hello, everyone. This is Searita from Burning Love Outreach, and welcome to our Facebook Live and Zoom webinar conversation. We have someone with us tonight who has helped many individuals deal with their drug and substance abuse issues, and she is ready to pour into us. Tonight's talk is going to be titled Inspiration to Recovery. So if you know someone who should be watching this video, please tag them. And we would also appreciate if you would like and share this video. And during the conversation, if you would like to ask our guests questions, you may write the questions in the comment section on Facebook, or you can use the chat on Zoom. We are on a mission here at Burning Love Outreach to lift up individuals who are suffering from a life of torment and addiction to one of joy, peace, and positivity through a relationship with God. And our special guest tonight is a minister. She's an intercessor, a counselor, and she holds an honorary doctoral degree in theology. She's a powerful vessel of God, and she operates under the healing and prophetic anointing. A life coach, a recovery coach. She is also the founder of I Am That I Am seminars, Destiny Consulting, and Jubilee Community Development Corporation. She's a wife, and she has been married to her husband, Calvin, for 21 years. They have two sons, Jeremiah and Timothy, and they reside in the beautiful Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Area of Virginia. And last but not least, our guest is a very dear friend of mine, a lifelong friend, and I am just honored to have her join me tonight on this conversation. Please, everyone, welcome Apostle Sylvia Shipman. Apostle Shipman, we thank you for joining us tonight and being our special guest.
It is a pleasure as always. I'm so excited, and thank you for allowing me to share this platform with you again, with Burning Love Outreach and your family, your community out there that's following you. What a pleasure. Thank you for having me. I do not take it for granted. It is an honor to be before you guys, and we're just excited about whatever God is going to do and whatever he has to share. I am open, and I pray that you all are open as well. Let's go with it, Searita. I'm ready.
Okay. Well, you know, there's one thing we want to make clear is that there's many different type of addictions out there, but Burning Love Outreach, we've specifically addressed drug abuse and drug addiction. Okay. So we're going to get right into it, Apostle Shipman. We know that you have a wealth of knowledge to impart in us tonight, and we want to hear what you have to say. So our first question for you tonight would be, what are the first steps to recovery for someone who is dealing with drugs and have a drug addiction?
You know, just in my training and working with individuals, first thing individual must do is admit that there is a problem. Mm-hmm. You and I may see the problem. Everyone around them may see the problem, but they must recognize that it is a problem. And then therefore, the process begins when they say, hey, I have a problem with substance abuse. I have a problem with street, drugs, or whatever their addiction may be. Here, the platform is substance abuse, drugs, usage abuse. Therefore, the individual must admit that I have a problem.
Okay.
That's the first step. Once they realize that that it is a problem, then the healing begins. The work began. And that individual usually is open for change at that point, because some of us have experienced that, hey, with our loved ones or whoever, that we keep talking to them and talking with them. And it's like, I don't have no problem. I don't know what you're talking about. But when they get to that place that they recognize it's a problem, is when the process began at that point. So the first step is recognizing that you have a problem. Not we saying you have a problem, but they must admit that they have a problem. And then we move from there. Yeah.
Okay. So please tell us and enlighten us to the difference, because there is a definite difference between drug abuse and drug addiction. Can you enlighten us on that, please?
Now, you know, there's a little slight differentiation there, very slightly. Drug abuse is a habitual taking of addiction or legal drug. Drug abuse can be compulsive, excessive, and self-damaging use of habit, forming drugs or substance. Addiction, that's why it says, because one leads into the other. Addiction is the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity. So as you can see, when a person take a drug abuse and abuse that drug, it can easily slide into addiction. Exactly. Now, when we see people taking abuse of drugs, we automatically say they addicted to drugs. And it's a slight differentiation there. Right. But the abuse will turn into addiction. But when we see it in our natural eyes and the person just taking drugs just because they feel like they need the drugs, then therefore it becomes it can become addicted to the medication. Okay. And leads to
thank you so much for clearing that up, because I knew that there was a difference in the two. Now, you know, school is starting back in some places. Schools has already started. They haven't started here yet. They will be starting in Toronto in a week or two. But, you know, when school starts back, it's a new beginning. And I don't know about you, but I know when I was in school, that's when I started smoking marijuana. What advice would you give to young people today who find themselves in a situation where they are being offered drugs for the first time?
That's a good question, because we're dealing with that as well nationwide. Because as you know, marijuana has been legalized, and now people feel like, hey, it's just marijuana. Right. But we know that when you feed and when you start creating an addiction, it opens the doors for many. So some parents would say, well, I tried marijuana. It's okay, I'm fine. And they will not try to correct that child to say, this is not the path that I want for you. And, you know, we always say to the child, just say no. But you know, that's kind of hard to just say no. But I always like to give the child a sample like this. Okay, what is it profiting you to use marijuana? And they literally don't know how to answer when I say, okay, if you continue to use marijuana, how is it profiting you? Then they still,
that's a good question.
Yeah, and they still be like, I don't know, because they're doing it because their peers are doing it. Everybody's doing it because, remember, we got so many things that's feeding our eye gates, our ear gate, and it formulates our decision. So the children nowadays, and of course, we can say back in our day, we had these same temptation, but it's on a whole nother level now. You know, where these things is just everywhere, in television and everything. I mean, they turn into the marijuana and put it in these pretty long, like cigars. And you think they're smoking a cigar, and they're literally passing around and it's marijuana. But so all these things is formulating our children thinking and make it think that it's cool, it's okay. But we have to be the voice in our children's ear. I always tell my boys, when you lay down, I want you to hear my voice in your ear saying and ringing in your ear, Mom don't like this, you know, Mom got a problem with this, whatever, because somebody's in their ear. So I want to advise the parents, you be the voice in your children's ear. You be that last thought that they have to say, what this is damaging your lungs, or this ain't gonna be healthy for you. Your brain cells are deteriorating, and so forth and so on. I mean, just build that thing up to get some fear in them somehow or another. But, you know, we got so much around us now that's saying that marijuana is okay to take because it's legalized. Right. And I said, well, they got a whole bunch of people to apologize that don't spend a lot of time in prison for being drug dealers on marijuana alone. But anyway, we try to be that voice in our children's life to try to deter them to make the right choices. Now, at the end, as you all know, children are going to be children, and they're going to try different things. You just have to be there to help navigate them to come out of the decisions that they make, no matter what, you know. But Right now, because of the pandemic, just to expound upon that, there has been a lot of relapsing. There has been a lot of children that are turning to marijuana and other substance abuse activities. But again, do not turn a blind eye, parents. We so often pretend like we don't see these things and turn a deaf ear and a blind eye instead of stepping in there and saying, no, you're not bringing it in my house. You're not going to do that. Do we need to get you some help? And sometimes you may have to take those measures and say, okay, I'm putting you in the program, whether you want it or not. Guess what? They still your child. They under your roof. They still got to do what you tell them to do. So, but we allow the parents to start telling us what we want them to do for us. You know what I'm saying? No, we have to take ownership and take that parentship. Go ahead, Searita.
Yes. So give us some of the psychological and the physical signs that people can look out, parents, friends, family could look out for that could show that someone may be using drugs or addicted to drugs.
Well, you already know some of those signs are like, I just experienced this with some house guests in my home. They had a nerve to smoke in my home. I thought it was the vaping stuff, right? Because it's got a funny smell. Well, now the marijuana that they put in these funny looking cigars, they have these scented fragrance to them, would throw everything off. But they came out and confessed to me that it was marijuana. I was totally surprised. Well, one time they did it again. I said, let me look at your eyes. So the eyes would give it away every time. You can, I mean, these just simple little things that you can look at, like, you know, they're not looking at you in their eyes, they're heading their head down. But if you ever sense that your child is smoking marijuana, any substance, look in their eyes. Their eyes will look glossy, slanted, my clothes. I mean, come on, y'all. We know some of the signs. You change their behaviors. Their mental component will change. Their grades go down, you know, their behavior towards you would change, meaning being snappy, being disrespectful. And that go along with adults as well. So the signs are there, but we want to just pretend like we don't see them. We just want to pretend like we don't see them, but we have to rise up and say, nope, I will not be a codependent with my loved ones any longer. I'm going to sit down and talk with them. At least they can say, when they do come to themselves and say, guess what? My loved one tried to help me. My sister tried to help me. My mother tried to help me. Instead of us turning a blind eye and a deaf ear. You know what I'm saying? So the signs are there.
That's thank you so much, because, you know, some people don't see the signs, and especially in there are people in this world who have not encountered drugs before in their life. So if they were to be in the presence of someone who was high or on drugs, they wouldn't know the signs to look out for. And I'm surprised of some folks that I have talked to who has admitted, you know what, Searita, I've never used drugs before. I've never been around people that use drugs. So they wouldn't even know the signs to look out for. So thank you so much for giving us the signs and psychological and physical signs to look out for.
Go ahead. Sorry, Searita.
I just want to let the people, because we have people watching us tonight, and I just want to let them know, our viewers know, that if they have any questions, they can list them in the comment section. I just want them to know that again. And also on the chat, if you, on Zoom, you can leave questions there for Apostle Shipman there. Apostle Shipman, you were getting ready to say something?
Yeah, I would just want to add that we can, when you're around someone that is using substance abuse, just start looking at their behavior changing slightly. There's always signs. Whether that person is withdrawn, don't want to be around you, they're laughing uncontrollable. You like, what in the world? Why they keep laughing? I mean, it's just so many signs that we just doesn't, you kind of put yourself in the check and say, something ain't right, but then you'll brush it off. So there are always signs of, just look at the behavior changing just slightly. That's all I wanted to interject there as you was expounding on that.
Well, you know, usually, and when they're starting to use, you will start seeing, a lot of people isolate themselves also. They stop doing the things that they enjoy doing, or family gatherings and things like that. Or if they used to go to church, they'll stop going to church. You can start looking for all those little signs. Not saying that everyone that does that is addicted to drugs or using drugs, but those are some of the common signs of abusers, especially of marijuana and young people when they start using marijuana. Now, I want to ask you about individuals that usually start using drugs. They are usually dishonest. And a lot of family members have run into this issue of family members lying to them, stealing from them, and it hurts. They'll come home and find their items gone, their TV missing, their quarters missing, their computers are gone. What would you say to the user? How can someone that was using say, you know what, I'm really sorry for what I've done to you, how I've hurt you? What advice would you give to that person, the user? And then I want you to answer on the flip side, what advice would you give to the individual, the victim, the person who has been a victim of this?
Okay, let's start with the user when they're apologizing for their behavior. I have experienced this so many times through my family lines. It's just unreal. They apologize every time, but it's not sincere until they get help. Their life has changed. I mean, I just have to be honest there. Even with my clients, they say the same thing too. There must be a change in their life for the healthy lifestyle of living that's away from the drugs. When they come and apologize, accept it. Because at that point, they have forgiven themselves, and they want you to forgive them as well. They okay if you don't, but at least they come and clean with themselves that I have apologized from all the things that I put you through. And usually at that time, they have done a lot of soul searching and they are serious about their recovery. Okay, but you will have many users that will continue when they're cold busted, taking stuff, stealing and doing all that. I'm sorry. And you fussing back with them. You're not sorry because you keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. But when you see that change, you'll know that change is serious, because their whole mannerism, their body language, their decision makings, their whole outcome in life has totally drastically changed in that recovery. So when they come to you and ask you, will you forgive me? Go ahead and forgive them. Of course, we must forgive them no matter what. But usually you would know the difference of that one that's just saying it just to be saying it versus that one that is really serious about it. As far as the one that has been the victim, there's a lot of hurt and disappointment, and people have to recognize, why is it so hard for me to forgive my son, my brother, my cousin, my friend, that I let them close into my bosom and they did this to me, and I just can't forgive them. So many people say, I just can't forgive them because they're so hurt. And so you have to recognize that there's a hurt there, there's a disappointment there, but you have to let it go and allow the healing in your heart to flourish and begin. You must.
Yes.
You know, so I would say discover why it's hard for you to forgive that person, because forgiveness is like medicine. Believe it or not, it's like medicine.
Yes.
If you hold on to it, it would destroy you inwardly. But if you let it go and walk in forgiveness, it's like medicine. So you just have to recognize, yes, this hurt me. Yes, this person disappointed me. Yes, this person let me down. And I'm frustrated about it. But at the end, after you recognize that, you have to say, okay, I got to let it go, because look, I got many things I have missed. I did the same thing to people, maybe in a different form, but I let people down, disappointed them, what have you, and I want them to forgive me. So the best thing to do is just forgive them and let it be behind. Do not keep bringing it up. When you see people living a wholesome life, do not continue to bring their past up. Don't nobody want to hear about their past. You embrace their future with them and walk with them in their recovery.
Well, praise God. Thank you for that. You know what? We have a question here. Well, we have a comment here. Someone commented that sometimes you cannot tell. Children are smart these days. They would use eye drops in their eyes and clear away the redness so you won't notice it. That is such a true statement, because you know what? I used to do that too.
Well, you know what? When it happened in my home just recently, the eyes was white, but there's a glossiness. See, the glossiness what gave it away, and not to mention the smell. Because see, I had to call bust them and let them know I could smell it on you, you know.
Right.
But no, it's not on my clothes. It was already in my clothes. I mean, they were going all like that. And I'm like, just stop. Just stop. I already know you better not do it again, you know.
Right.
But the point is that you, I don't care how slick they are. Mom and daddy always slick her. Okay, we already don't play with the ball they don't play with, or something like a ball they're playing with. So we just have to rise up and start looking, being aware. Don't turn a blind eye. Recognize the behavior, because you're going to see it. They're going to either talk too much or not talk enough. Something is going to give it that they are on some type of medication, some kind of substance abuse, something. They're going to say, wait a minute, you too quiet. What's going on?
I call it a mind-altering substance. Some type of mind-altering substance.
Okay, very good. Then I love it.
That's what I call it. So you're so right with that. But the question, like the question
so go
said,
beyond the eyes. Go beyond the eyes and start looking at the behaviors. Look at what they would do while they're around you, what they're not doing anymore. You know, start paying attention to even when they're speaking, their speech is different. You know what I'm saying? Short temper, so many signs. You just can't just chump it up and say, oh, these just the teenagers, this is the way they act. No, search that thing out and figure out what's really deep behind everything. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you see changes that's totally different than they normally would be. Hopefully that helps someone out.
Okay. Well, you know what? I want to continue to let people know that they can submit their questions. They have any questions, put it in the comment section. And I just love this conversation here. You're giving us a wealth of information, and especially for those who have had no dealings with individuals who are addicted to drugs or have an addiction or drug abuse. I want to ask you, because you have several ministries, and for those who missed it, we had Apostle Shipman on last Monday, I think like August 24th. And what it is, she has several ministries, outreach services that she has. One is called I Am Seminar, Destiny Consultant, and Jubilee Community Development Corporation. And she explained those individual entities to us then. We're not going to have her explain it to us tonight, but we will let her give us information on how to contact her, or go to her website and you can read all about it. But I want to ask her some questions, because those entities deal with individuals who are suffering. And a question for you is, how do you help individuals see themselves as God sees them so that they can recover from substance abuse?
I love that. What a beautiful question. Because we know that first of all, we have the power within us to change. We just don't know how to ignite that change and ignite that power that's in us. So the first thing that we do is, of course, trust God Almighty in our healing, in our deliverance. I Am That I Am shows individuals how to ignite the power within them to create change in their lives. And then doing so, in that igniting of the power of God within them, the mind change. Remember, everything starts in the mind. When we whatever we started to do or decided to do, it was a decision of the mind. And addictions and all that, those other decisions that, whether been by peer pressure or whatever, that's leading our loved ones to do what they do, when it come down to substance abuse, the decision was still that individual that created in the mind. So when the power of God get ignited within that individual, we then began to work on the mindset, changing the mindset of that individual, that they can see themselves through the eyes of God. And when they began to see that they are precious, that God loves them, that they have no flaws, because God did not create anything that was flawless. Is that the right word, Searita? Yeah. Yeah.
God created us flawless.
Yes. So my point is that God created everything and it was lovely, scrumptious. And so we were made in the likeness and the image of them. So we began to show them what God sees them. And then they began to see themselves as God sees them. And when they start seeing that blossom, oh my God, it's on and popping then. On and popping.
Well, you know, I find that a lot of people who are dealing with drug and substance abuse, Sylvia, Apostle Shipman, that they're looking for something. They went to the drugs, start using drugs because they were looking for something that was missing in their lives. Correct. And I find a lot of times, you know what it is love.
It is love.
A lot of times it's love is what they were looking for. We have a question here. Someone have a question here. It says to you, what happens if someone admits that they need help, but refuse to get help? And their life is falling apart and you keep talking to them, but they will not go for help. What is the best way to handle that situation?
That's a good one because again, this goes on the same line. They're saying one thing, but their heart is not where their mouth is. Okay. They're saying, okay, I have a problem. I want some help, but I ain't going to get no help. But when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, what they're going to do? They're going to go and get some help. So don't force them. Now, what you can do if that person have not already done so is give them some avenues where to go and get help. Because sometimes people saying, I need some help. I want to get some help. They just don't know where to go. So you may have to be that vehicle to do the legwork for that individual and say, hey, there's a weekly meeting over here on Thursday. Would you like me to attend that meeting with you? You know, there's a group over here at this particular time at this church. Would you like me to attend that with you? Well, there's a counselor that I have found for you, a recovery counselor that can help you. Would you like me to make an appointment for you? I mean, you're assisting them because sometimes people don't know where to start. Right. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like, you know, you got a toe, you broke your arm and you know to go to the doctor. Some people literally don't know where the help is. They know how to find their fixes. They can't find where to go and get their help. So you may have to be that vehicle to go that extra mile and still saying, come on, you keep saying you're going to go get help. You keep saying you're going to go get help. And you nudging them. And they saying, okay, I really want to get help. But they don't know how to verbalize and say to you, I don't know where to go. So then you present to them. And this is where you would tell if they're serious when you present to them on a platter their options where to go get help. And I'll go with you. Yes. Then you'll see if they're serious. So that's what I would tell that individual that's asking the question. Okay, if you're serious, I've outlined a couple of places that you can start with. Where would you like? You know, don't make the decision with them to say, where would you like to begin? And they'll say, okay, I want to attend this meeting over here on Thursday. Oh, that would be perfect. Would you like me to attend? You know what? That would be nice. See, so you leading them to helping them make a decision without you making a decision for them. But you are handling the information to them on a platter for them. Because believe it or not, some of them just don't know where to go. And because of that, that's where you may have to come in and do that extra leg of work to show them where the help is, where the help can be offered at for them.
And you know what? That's exactly what we do at Burning Love Outreach. Also, people that come to us, because I'm not a counselor, but I can help you and encourage you and motivate you and point you in the right direction. And I know even from my own drug use, I really needed somebody to hold my hand, because when you are an active user, you need somebody to literally hold your hand and pull you in the direction that you need to go in. And you have to be willing to do that, to go that extra mile. And that's why I believe that God formed Burning Love Outreach, is so that we can do that and help individuals and recognize what they need in order to get the help. And this is, and what you just said, this is the way I describe it. Someone tells me they're hungry. Okay, I'm going to go to the store. I'll buy you the steak. I will cook the steak. I will put the plate, the steak on a plate for you, and I will sit that plate down in front of you. But it's up to you, because your hands are free. You can use your hands. You have the use of your hands. It's up to you to cut that steak up and eat it. And that's what I do when I find counselors, I find meetings, I find place for you to go. I will do all the legwork for you. I will go with you. But there are some meetings that are closed actually only to the users, but I will go with you, be with you every step of the way, as far as I can go with you, as far as they let me go with you. And but you have to do something too. And I do find that I give people all this information, open up the door for them, but they just don't want to walk through that door, because they'll give you excuse after excuse after excuse why they're not doing it. But I know as long as I do what God has ordained me to do, you know, I just can't make you eat that steak that I went and bought and prepared and set before you.
Yeah, and you know, you would think it's so simple because they go to the fullest extent to feed that habit, and you think, why do I have to hold your hand to do this? Especially from our loved ones. They just so frustrated and everything, and they want that change to come like drastically. You saying you want help, so I want you to start moving. Show me some signs that you're serious here. So, but sometimes we just don't know that that individual has such a stronghold. These are called strongholds, that in your mind, you know what to do, but I just need a little help here. And sometimes it's hard for people to say, I need you to hold my hand. You know, that's what we do as recovery coaches. We literally hold people by their hand throughout their recovery, if that's what they need. We literally take them by the hand. So I'm saying to that individual that had the question, that just go the extra mile, just like you just put it on the platter with that steak dinner, Searita, do the same thing and say, now, where would you like to start? And your only way of going with that individual would be just sitting in the car while they're going to the meeting. Like you said, there's closed meetings. So you may have to just sit in the car, drink your coffee, read a book or whatever, but you at least showing the support, because that is part of their support system too. Not just you taking them to that meeting, but you yourself is that support system as well. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
One is
So
to that meeting. Yeah.
You know what? I am really enjoying this talk, and I hope that the people that are watching us tonight, that they're enjoying it. If you know, again, if you know someone that should be listening to this, please tag them in this video, in this Facebook, and so that they can hear all of the information that Apostle Shipman is giving us tonight. Now, you offer recovery support services to individuals that empower them to be everything that they desire to be. And please explain these services and how they work for the individual. Well,
recovery support services kind of like meet the whole person. You know, when you start working with those in recovery, the first thing they say is they want a job and they want their house, you know, and you like, wait a minute, you can't just jump in there and get a job because you haven't gotten fully walking in, I call it this, walking in your deliverance. I call it recovery. I tell the clients, you got to walk through you got to walk in your recovery, walk in your deliverance. You got to walk that thing out. But they're ready to immediately get their job and their house. You know, they're ready to be reconciled with their families. And I mean, they're just ready. And we have to get to the core of the issue. Because as soon as you start giving them this, and we have done that, giving them what they want, because that's their recovery plan, right? Okay. They end up relapsing. They end up getting good jobs and feeding that habit again, because they don't have enough substance up under them. They got to walk. In essence, I always tell the clients, you must make this your lifestyle, healthy lifestyle of living. And then therefore we do try to meet all of their needs for the whole person, so that they won't have that habit of and remember, recovery support service is that you not only bring in that habit of the substance abuse in there, but you bring in those habits that fed that substance abuse. So if you were stealing, you were a prostitute to feed that habit. If you were all these things, gambling, whatever, stealing from your loved ones and then going out there selling it, all of these habits have to go into your recovery. So you are peeling layers and layers and getting to the core of the issue, that thing that is so deep buried, that's like a stronghold, be uprooted and be no more. So, you know, we get to the core of the matter, but we have done what the client asked, and they always come back with those relapses, because we know you are not at that point that you're walking out your recovery and making a mental decision every day that this is my lifestyle. Clean and sober is my lifestyle, you know, and you are literally transforming your life to creating new relationships that are wholesome. That means you may walk away from a relationship that, hey, you and your buddy been from childhood, y'all been doing drugs forever and forever, and he's not ready to walk in the path that you are. So you may have to sever that relationship right then and there and leave that person behind and go on. Those are hard decisions, and people have a hard time making them. But recovery support service basically meet the whole individual in recovery, that they have the substance that they need, from life skills, reconciling with their families, building up their self-esteem, their confidence, coming out of line and manipulation, you know what I'm saying? All kind of things that we have to address there. But that person have to be open and honest and ready to deal with these issues and not still water them down like they're okay. So, being as a recovery coach and all of that, you have to be able to call that spade out when you see it, call that behavior out, and you'll be able to detect, no, you're not being honest with me. And then you might have to bypass them and just wait till they're ready to open up those doors in those areas. But the recovery support service do meet the whole man of the person. Go ahead.
Do you find that many people relapse in their recovery? Because I find that a part of recovery is normally an individual will relapse at least once.
They do. 9 out of 10, they do. I work with people that's been, now what was the question? Because I was about to expound on something else.
I was just asking, did you find that people in recovery relapse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a part of recovery.
Now, what is so heart-wrenching is that when you have people that have 18 years, 5 and 6 years, and they come back and say that, they relapse, and I celebrate with them if they've been out there for 6 months and said that they relapse. I said, hey, I'm proud of you. Because you could stay out there longer. I mean, you got 6 years, so I said, forget about these 6 months. You still 6 years. Okay? I get into their psyche, right? And I say, you still 6 years strong. We just gonna forget you had a little bump in the road. We're gonna dust ourselves off and figure out why. See, there's always a why. What and why? What made you do that and why? And then when we can get to the core of that, then we can get to the surface of that thing that's trying to reap havoc in them. But again, I deal with the stronghold of that addiction too. So if they're gonna get set free from that addiction, I let them know you got to walk in this thing because it would be even stronger if you entertain it again.
Right.
So I'm very candid.
We have a question for you.
I'm sorry.
How do you, if someone is fully recovered, how do you know if someone is fully recovered? I think that's what she was trying to say. And is there a time frame? What can someone do to assist them with their journey?
Oh, that's good. You become, let's take that back from the end of the question. You become that support system, first of all. Mm-hmm. So you're helping them as being that support system that they need. Okay. Now, how do you know when they are fully recovered? All you can do is see the changes in their lives and that they're serious. You're going to see the fruit, just like you saw when they was addicted on them. Substance abuse, addiction, you saw those signs. You're gonna see the signs where they are clean and sober and they're serious. Okay, that doesn't mean, like you said, Searita, that they won't relapse. But along their journey, you trust the fact that they have made a transition in their life, a healthy lifestyle of living that's wholesome to them. And you become that support system, whatever that may be for them, that they need from you. It may be that they may need encouragement from time. They may need you to call them up they call you up in the middle of the night because they having this thing in their mind or the scent that calls them to want to use or whatever. And when I hear clients say that, I always say, we got some more work to do, because when you are totally set free from a thing, I don't care. That thing don't bother you no more. You can be around people that drink and this and that. Now, granted, these transferring spirits, I'm sorry if I'm going this way. These transferring spirits will try to get on you to try to make you eventually try to go that way. But if you've been totally set free, you can be in the midst of it and it won't even phase you. Won't even phase you. That's true. Because your mind is, go ahead. Go ahead, Searita.
I absolutely believe that. As the scripture says, when the Son sets you free, you are free indeed. Correct. And you won't go back to that. So what you just now said is a true fact.
Yeah. So those are the signs. You will see the fruits of their healing, of their deliverance, of their recovery. you will see the fruits, just like you saw the fruits of them being in the midst of it, you will see the fruit. That's how you know it's real. Just like God said, how would you know my disciples? By the fruit that they bear. You're going to see the fruit that they bear in their recovery. Therefore, you be the support, whatever that support that they need from you, be that support. Okay. What other part of that question, Searita? I think I addressed it all, but
yep. She said, is there a time frame? But
that time frame. No.
Yeah.
There's no time frame. You got to just bear with it. But God can come in and instantly set that individual free, just like a blink of an eye, just like lightning. If they open for it, that's a fact. I've seen it happen over and over again, but that's not always the case. So sometimes people have to take the traditional way of recovery. They may go, look, I got clients that go in and out of transition programs all the time. And it's only because they have a desire to do it, but they don't have the willpower to do it. And that's why you got to be ignited with the power of God and know that it's God that's going to help you along your journey in your recovery. But it can take a little minute. You got to bear it. Everybody have to bear it, but it can take a minute and it can be as quick and it can be as slow. Years.
Well, what do you do to help individuals sustain their recovery?
That's good. What I do recommend to individuals is get their support group and keep their support group. You know, in recovery, I would say change places, people, and things. Everybody know that, right? So you literally have to keep walking in that. That ain't just you just doing it because it sounds good. You literally have to always have that precaution there that, hey, I can't go on the west side. I can't go and hang out over here. That's not my lifestyle anymore. So you literally have to take everything in consideration in your recovery. What's healthy for you? What's good for you? And keep that support group around you. That support group meaning could be your wife, could be your spouse, husband, children, neighbor, your neighbors. It could be whoever you have made, whoever is showing that support to you. You want to invite them into your world to help you along your journey, because believe it or not, I have not found no one that has come to me for help that did not want a support group. Meaning they need a support. They want a tangible support group, huh?
Yeah, you need that support group. I remember once when after I had recovered, and I remember someone that I used to use drugs with, I ran into them at home, and they was like, oh, you're not the same anymore. I'm still the same person. I was like, well, I'm not. And I don't do those things anymore. And you just have to be able to stand your ground and be bold enough to say that I have changed my life. I have changed the trajectory of my life. I am not doing those things anymore. And, you know, they may look at you and not appreciate, you know, what you have decided to do, but you have to make those decisions for yourself. And it's very important, like you said, for the recovering addict to have a mindset. Their mind has to change. And once your mind changes, I believe that that's when they are really successful in their recovery, and they have that support group. You have to have people around you who think like you, who are walking like you. You cannot have a mindset that I'm going to stop using drugs, but still go to the same places and be with the same people doing the same thing, because you won't be successful.
I'm agreeing with you, Searita, and I apologize for cutting you off, but so many try to do it, and it always backfire. They always end up relapsing, always. So they really think they're strong enough to hang around their best friends, their partners, and still think that they're going to be okay, and it always backfires them because they don't have that strength and they don't have that support that they need to say, hey, man, I don't think you need to do that. Hey, sister, don't do that. You know, that support group keeps you in accountability. You know, so that accountability is good. And I think that's what a lot of people be looking for, their accountability. So that's why they want that tangible support group. But gravitate to that. Gravitate to your support group, because you're going to need not just going to a meeting here and there, but and that's great too. That's your support group too. But hanging to those family members, those friends that are supporting you, those new friends that are healthy for you. Use that. They may not know that they're your support group. You know they're your support group, though. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you have to use whatever measure you have to do to continue in your deliverance, continue in your recovery. You take whatever measure necessary. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And again, for the viewers out there, I'm going to keep reminding you that if you know someone that needs to hear this information that we're talking about tonight in this conversation, please tag them in Facebook. You have what you call a Jubilee mentality.
Mm-hmm.
What is Jubilee mentality?
Well, it's this. Jubilee mentality is being free from any stronghold, addiction, or anything. And having that mindset and that tenacity within you and that power and that drive within you to say that I'm no longer going to give you my power anymore to control my life. That's with anything. So when you have the Jubilee, meaning refreshing, refining, free, a fresh start, everything is restored, so
Yes.
you can have that mentality that you can have the life that you desire, literally,
Yes.
and not allow your past to dictate your future. And so often we are our own worst critics, as we know we are. We are the one that continue to hold a grudge to ourselves, but we got to be the first one to say, I forgive me.
Yeah.
I forgive me for what I've done to me. You have to literally say that. And you have to say, okay, and I let it go. And I love me. And I love me greatly. And when you start ministering to yourself, I call it ministry, right? You start ministering to yourself that way, your mindset start changing with that old mentality that, hey, I ain't gonna never change. This gonna always be my lifestyle. This gonna always be what I'm always, it's all in my family. It's a generation after generation after generation. No, it don't have to be your story. Does not have to be your story. So you have the tenacity, the stamina, the dunamis resurrection power of God in you to resurrect all those things that have looked and appeared like strongholds or addictions or anything that can be eradicated out of your life. That can change. That's Jubilee.
Praise God. I like that. You know what? I'm going to take on that Jubilee mentality.
I know that's right.
Take on that Jubilee mentality. I like that.
I mean, I minister that to myself, A lot of times, we're not saying these. I always tell my clients, what I tell you, I got to live it. So your addiction may be different than mine, but I still have to walk in what I'm telling you. So everything that I share with people, I literally have to live it too, because guess what? If you don't, you're going to be tried by that same thing that you're telling others. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, if you walk the walk, you have to talk the talk.
That's right. That's right. So I take Jubilee. I have to minister myself a numerous times throughout one given day. Throughout one given day, I have to change my mindset. Okay. They just make it real. Yes, I do.
Well, you know what? That is, I like that. And I am going to adapt that Jubilee mentality into my life. I really like what you just said about that.
Praise God.
How would you, I want you to address rebuilding relationships.
That's good.
I think that's something that we need to touch on before we wrap up for the night. But how would you suggest one rebuild the relationships with their families? Because, when individuals are addicted to drugs, they really damage a lot of relationships, marriages, relationships with their children, their parents. So can you talk to us about that a little bit, please?
Yeah, thank you, Searita. We kind of touched on it a little bit when you're asking how, what calls you have calls to to your loved ones. We kind of touched on that a little bit, so we'll pick back up in that little area. First of all, that the abuser have to literally forgive themselves and love themselves, literally, so that their loved ones who they abused and hurt and did all these things, whether a spouse, parents, siblings, or whatever, can do the same thing. Now, one thing about it, I always say this, you can't make nobody forgive you. So if there's no forgiveness there will not be no reconciliation there. Let me tell you that right now. Now, the one that did the abuser can love them wholeheartedly and want them to show the same type of love. But the one that got abused, they have a problem releasing that hurt. So what needs to take place is dealing with the hurt and being able to say, okay, I got to let it go. I got to forgive you. Because if they don't, it will not be reconciled. But long as everybody is moving forward together in harmony in this recovery together as a family, guess what? Automatically those relationships will be mended, be reconciled. But the hindrance is the hurt and the rejection and the disappointment and all those fragility things that creeps up in our flesh that causes us not to go beyond our emotions and our hurt, our disappointment and our fragilities of our flesh. So those are the ones that you literally have to take us. I mean, there ain't nothing you can do but say, look, are you gonna hold this over my life forever? And sometimes they'll say, yeah. They would say yes, because they that hurt. And then you have to say you can't. And I've said to many people, if you don't forgive me, God won't forgive you of your mess. And that kind of like just melted all down, girl, because everybody wants to be forgiven of their mess. And I literally have had to tell people to instruct them that way. And because it makes them see that, hey, I've done wrong too. Somebody got to have forgiven me too. So now, therefore, I got to be open to forgive you. And now we can be starting to reconcile. So, but you don't want to go there with that card, but sometimes you got to play that spade. Yeah, sometimes you got to call it out like that. Yeah.
And I know you will call it out.
Well, you know, hey.
I know you will call it out.
You playing no games, so hey.
Well, I thank you so much. You have given us so much information tonight. And, you know, I'm just elated with what has taken place here tonight, the information that we have received from you about this conversation. I thank you, Apostle Shipman, for your support of Burning Love Outreach. You have supported this outreach from the beginning, and it's truly a pleasure to have you here and talking with you tonight and just gaining all this wealth of information from you. And what I really and truly love about you is that you recognize that individuals need help. And not only that you recognize it, is that you have a desire and you have a heart. You love individuals and you want to see people be the best that they can be for God. Absolutely. That God has created, what God has created in them. You want to see that come out, the best in them come out. And that is just so impressive about you and all of your ministries and what you do to help people. And I just pray that God will continue to support you and that God would continue to bless you and all that you're doing. You're a cheerleader and you're a supporter and a motivator. And we are just so happy to have had you on tonight.
Thank you so much for this amazing opportunity, Searita. I know that you could have chosen many other people to be here with you tonight. And I thank God for placing me on your heart to be able to share with you and your audience. And I just pray that lives are changed and people have gotten some nuggets that they can carry forth with their loved ones and really make a difference in their lives as a support group. We all are here to help one another. I don't care what it looks, the bottom line is love, and love always produces what? An action to it. And so we all are here to show love to our loved ones, no matter how hurt and disappointed we may be, but we're here to show and exemplify that love, and that love is exemplifying God in our lives, you know? So thank you. Listeners, I know that you are tremendously blessed by Burning Love Outreach, and I just love to be part of my sister's ministry. And I know that you guys have so much to pour out into her as she's pouring out into you all. And thank you, Searita, for this great, amazing time tonight. And I look forward to the next one. You ain't gonna wait on you to invite me. I'm already saying I'm looking forward to the next one.
We definitely will have you back again, Apostle. You have so much knowledge, and this was just not even come close to what we can get from you and what you have experienced in. And I know we will have you back on again. For all of our viewers out there from Burning Love Outreach, we thank you all for your support again. Let me tell you, Apostle Shipman, our viewers, they are awesome. They support this ministry. It's just been overwhelming, the amount of support that we have. And I just thank God for it, because it's all because of God. And I want you to know that God put it in my heart to have you on tonight. So it's all because of the Lord. And we thank him for that. And I just want everybody to remember to please, if you would like to know more about Burning Love Outreach, you can go to our website at burningloveoutreach.org, and you can leave your prayer request there. You can leave a testimony there. We also have a place there if you would like to support. We ask that you would support and partner with this outreach program. We are a nonprofit program that if you donate, you can become a monthly donor. If you can give one donation, one-time donation, whatever you choose to do, we definitely appreciate that. And we also want you guys to be aware that in October, we will have the pastors, Brian and Sabrina Forster, on. They will be talking about the Lakeside Church, and they will be joining us for a conversation about their ministry, the vision, the mission, and why they support ministry. So please look forward to that in October. And Apostle Shipman, do you have any last words you'd like to say? And also, please give everybody the information of how they can contact you, your website, all that information, please.
Yeah, you can go to our website. It's Jubilee, Jubilee, CDC.org. There you will be able to click on the other websites that's affiliated with Jubilee. Our number is 877-360-1177. That number is 877-360-1177, and that's Jubilee, CDC.org. That is our website. And what I will leave tonight is that you all have been created to impact others' lives. Every one of us have a distinctive calling to impact other people's lives and be a blessing to others. So instead of us hoarding all that juicy abundance of love that we kind of hold on to, we got to express it and let it burst out of us and be a blessing to someone. So if your loved one is suffering with this stronghold of any type of addiction, know that you have the ability and the power to create change that will bring an everlasting impression and fruits in their life to a healthy lifestyle of living. You have that ability to help. I leave with that note. Praise God.
Praise the Lord. Thank God for that. Thank you. And on that note, we are going to say thank you again to everyone for tuning in. Continue to be on the lookout for notices and flyers of our guests on Burning Love Outreach. But please note, we don't have a date yet, but in October, we will have Pastors Brian and Sabrina Forster from the Lakeside Church in Toronto, Ontario. Apostle Shipman, again, thank you so much. God bless you. God bless your ministries and our viewers out there. We bless you all. Thank you all for your comments, your likes, your hearts. And I pray a blessing over each and every person. And until the next time, we're going to say goodbye for now.
Bye-bye, you all. Love you all. God bless.
Love you all.